Welcome to the One More Thing Tech podcast, the show where we geek out about absolutely everything tech.
So, Kwesi, did you see that Apple is going to be launching 15 new products this year?
I would hope so. But, the more Apple products, the better. But what are these products specifically?
Let's go through them really quick. The iPhone 17, the iPhone 17 Air, iPhone 17 Pro, iPhone 17 Pro Max.
Okay, so that's 4.
Mac Pro, MacBook Pro, iPad Pro, AirPods Pro 3, Apple Watch Ultra 3, Apple Watch Series 11, Apple Watch SE3, HomePad it looks like, new Apple TV 4K, HomePod Mini 2, AirTag 2, Studio Display 2, and some rumors of a Vision Pro or Lite and Pro Display XDR.
Okay, so let's break this down. iPhone 17, obviously. The 17 base model is supposedly coming with the new features that is coming with is supposedly ProMotion, a better selfie camera, the new design, and more. And then we have the iPhone 17 Air, which is supposed to be really thin. I don't know why. I'm not asking for a thin phone personally, but
same.
If they want to make it thin, go do it, Apple. I want to see how it looks. iPhone 17 Pro, obviously is going to get all the new features, all the best features, like the upgraded camera system, the new aluminum glass, or is it glass? I think it's
aluminum back and then glass back too.
Yeah, that display. Or not display, sorry. The back of the phone is going to be aluminum. And then the Pro Max, is just going to be a bigger version of the Pro.
That's my goat.
Oh no, the Pro Max has always been a little bit too big for me.
Well, before we get too far into every product that's coming out here, which two of all this are you most excited for?
Of the iPhone specifically,
the whole list?
Okay, so obviously the iPhone 17 Pro is not the Pro Max, just the Pro is what I'm most excited for. And then for my second thing, the AirPods Pro 3. Because let me tell you why. I absolutely love my AirPods Pro second generation, right? I don't think I've ever used a device that consistently. Like, I had the original AirPods 2, right? The ones with the long stem, and it was great, right? It was a great audio experience. I'm by no means an audiophile, so if you're an audiophile and you're listening and you're cringing at what I just said, I'm sorry. But to me, the original AirPods that I had were great. But that original double tap feature to skip a song, and then if I put my other one to reverse a song, or not reverse, but like go back to the start of a song, awesome, right? The way I opened it and it would like show my battery percentage, and it would start flipping on my screen. It would start rotating on the screen. Oh my goodness. The experience was just awesome, right? And everything about the AirPods Pro, because I didn't get the original AirPods Pro. My older brother had them, but I didn't get them. I got the AirPods Pro second generation with the lightning cable at first, right? I no longer have the lightning one because they came out with USB-C, and I was like, it's time to transfer everything in my life to USB-C. So I don't have anything that runs on lightning anymore.
I do. Two things. I have an Apple TV remote that still has USB. Yeah. Sorry, USB-C. I have one that has lightning still. And I have my AirPods Max first gen, which still sound great.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they sound bad.
I want it to be USB-C, but I'm not sure if I'll just upgrade to the AirPods Max with USB-C. I'm still on the fence about that. We'll discuss that maybe later on.
Okay.
Sure.
But I think I paid $250 for my upgraded. Well, it's not really an upgrade. All I really got was USB-C. But for my new AirPods, all I paid was $250 for this top-notch experience. And yes, it could be missing some things. But Adam, they just keep adding features, and it's the greatest thing ever. Like, I'm not even going to get into the new AirPods Pro 3 features yet, right? Just in the span of me having my AirPod Pro 2s alone, they added a new noise isolation mode. I can't remember what it's called, but it's not transparency, and it's not. I think it's called dynamic mode, where it kind of kicks out the background noise but lets in the important sounds. That's awesome. It's got this new feature where you can shake your head yes or no, and tell Siri whether or not you want to, like, if someone's calling me, let's say I'm in a crowded elevator, like how they had the ad, and my grandma calls me. Now, I can't answer grandma's call right now, so I just shake my head no. I don't have to tell Siri, because you know how Siri acts when you have your AirPods in. Yada, yada, yada is calling. Would you like to answer? And you have to respond verbally, yes or no. Well, not anymore. And on top of that, the AirPods Pro 3 are coming with better noise cancellation. Let me tell you something, Adam. In my room here on campus, there's this air conditioner. And some nights this air conditioner is the loudest thing I have ever heard in my entire life. And it prevents me from going to sleep. For like a week, I'm really mad at it. Because for like a week, I like just sat there and tried to sleep through it. And it didn't occur to me that I had a solution. You know what I mean? Yeah. One night, I just popped in my AirPods. And, you know, usually when I have one, it's on transparency mode. But if I put in both, it'll go to noise cancellation. And, dude, I popped in the second one, and all the noise just faded away. I was like, oh, my goodness. I completely forgot about this. So I typically use my AirPods to help me sleep. That's beyond the point. So the AirPods Pro 3, Adam, are supposed to come with better noise cancellation and heart rate monitoring. That's kind of cool.
Who would have thought to put a heart rate monitor in AirPods? I mean, there is, a feature for that. I'm excited for that, but that's kind of cool. So
what's your favorite two out of the bunch?
My two, 17 Pro Max, number one.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that M5 MacBook Pro. Let me tell you why. Every time that Apple comes out with the M series chip, Apple Silicon, it's just top tier.
Is it?
I mean, it's every year, first off, as we've seen in the past. And this guy, that German dude, whoever he is, that does this, just goes so hard, it's ridiculous. And I want to see a 30 or 40% increase in performance and a 20% increase in efficiency and whatever else they're going to do. But what I got to say is, have you ever seen the M series chip not do awesome the next year after it comes out?
Okay, so I'm going to sound like a broken record here because I say this every time we're on the podcast. And it's not just on the podcast. Like, this isn't a front. I have personally never used an Apple chip that's let me down. Yeah, no, I had to think about it for a second. I have never used an Apple chip that's let me down. Back when Apple was running Intel on Macs, yeah, some things
it worked.
Throw at it that it wouldn't handle. But, it got the job done. Final Cut Pro is only on Mac. So if I want to use Final Cut Pro, I kind of had to deal with that choppiness. Not anymore. I'll tell you that much.
The M2 was a chip that had less efficiency overall, I believe, but still not a bad chip. But what I got to tell you is, I think Apple, hand over hand, is making Intel and AMD just realize that they're not the best in the game anymore. And I'm excited for what they got to have to do here, because it's just going to be, I don't know. I'm excited, and I want to see what they're going to do with that. Plus, is this the year they're going to do OLED screens? I don't think so. I think it's next year, according to Ross Young.
For what? For Macs or for?
Yeah, for Macs.
Okay, so I'm gonna be very honest with you really quick. OLED is great, right? But for some things, I don't want to switch because the MacBook I have currently uses mini LED, right? And it gets really bright, and the color gambit is just way better, right? I don't want to switch to OLED if it's gonna detract from that. I don't want a darker screen.
Let's go back for a second. You said it's mini LED?
Yeah, mini LED.
Well, it actually is better than OLED. So
yeah, I personally thought it was better than OLED. But the other day we were at work, and you were like, OLED over everything. I was like, okay.
Well, I didn't know. Okay, I was just unaware because I don't have the new Mac. So I was not really formally announced that this was going to be, micro LED or mini LED.
Yeah, mini LED.
So yeah, that is actually a better screen than OLED, if you can believe it.
The only thing that I would give OLED is the blacks. OLED has some really nice blacks. Fortunately for me, I'm not always watching content on my Mac. I actually use this to game most of the time, which is weird.
Okay.
I probably should be using it for, schoolwork, but...
Do you have an OLED TV at all?
Do I have an OLED? Adam, please. Are you serious?
I'm just letting you know when you get one.
I don't have an OLED TV. I have a Quantum LED TV.
When you get one, you'll never go back.
No. I have a QLED. I don't think you understand.
A QLED is sad. That's what that is.
Really?
Just so sad. That's beside the point. Just trying to see, of all these new products, that's going to be nice. The one thing that I misspelled it when I was reading it, basically, but the HomePad. Did you see that? You see that's going to come out with? That's basically their HomePod plus iPad mini device. That's going to be a centralized hub for your whole smart home. What are your thoughts with that?
I think it's interesting. I like it. Personally, Google has the Nest Home, I think it's called.
For now.
Alexa has that little, I know they're shutting down functionality.
They just announced recently that they're going to turn off the original Nest thermostat from 2011. They're dropping support. Now I get it's old, right?
Right.
That's not the problem. But they completely killed the Nest carbon monoxide detector and smoke detector. That's like the end of the year, it's just gone. So I'm just kind of scared what they're going to do with this whole market. Now, it sells very well for them. I hope they keep it. But I'm not sure. I'm a little scared beside that point.
Okay, but like I was saying, Google has theirs. Amazon has their Echo Show, I think it's called. That's probably not what it's called, but you know.
I think so, but I'm not sure.
So Apple's been due. You know what I mean? A lot of people use Apple for a lot of their smart home things already. Like my TV, I could turn on my TV from right here if I wanted to. I wouldn't because it'd probably scare the absolute living daylights out of either my mom or my siblings. But, you know, if I wanted to, I could turn it on.
Just do it really quick.
No. They're going to think there's a ghost in the house. Because I'm going to be honest with you. My mom doesn't even know I have that set up. Like sometimes I'll be in the other room just, she's going to listen to this. But sometimes I'll just be in the other room just kind of messing with the TV. Like it just randomly changes channels, you know, and I have no clue what that has to do with anything. Anyhow, like I was trying to say, overdue for one. Especially like I think even Meta has one where like you can it like takes calls and everything, and it's like a part of your smart home, and I think it moves with you. I think if Apple does something like that it moves with you, so you can be on FaceTime, and like if let's say I'm in the corner of this room and my Echo is facing you, Adam, and I call for it, I want it to be able to like turn towards me. That might be a little bit of wishful thinking, but what are your thoughts?
I'm excited for it because, you know, the iPad Mini, which you both agree is a phenomenal device. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to be on here,
I hope
perhaps, but it's a screen like that. That's the closest thing we have for comparison. But overall, I see people using the HomePod right now for smart home integrations, like turning on lights, turning a certain scene on, turning off the garage light, shutting the garage door, various different things. Adding a screen to that makes it nice. Could you imagine a home that has this screen that's going to show the family calendar for the day, right? And now we can see that mom's going to be at soccer practice with Jimmy at 2 o'clock while dad's going to take Sarah over to softball. And now you can kind of see that, right? You can use your phone for that too. Right. But when you're in the moment, having that right there is nice. And now I can see from that same display an overall home kit of the entire home. Oh, Jimmy forgot to turn his lights off in his room. I'm just going to do that really quick, right? I mean, I think it's going to be a good thing. Now, what's the price you think it's going to be?
Well, it really depends because a while ago I saw that Google had this tablet that kind of turned into their smart home kind of, I forget what it's called, but like their smart home hub, and you can like pick it up and move around with it. And it didn't come with a lot of storage. It didn't come with a lot of RAM or anything. But the fact that it was pick upable and move aroundable, I don't know if pick upable is a word, but
it is now.
But like the fact that it was mobile enough, it was great. So if they put if they just slap an iPad mini on here, same specs and everything, I think we can expect to see it going for at least $500.
I'm gonna guess 400.
400.
That's just my guess. I'm probably wrong a lot of ways, but this is just a quick question I have for you, Kwesi. This just came to me like on the way here this morning.
Okay.
What do you think if there's a concept of an iPad Pro in an iPad mini size? What do you think about that?
Let me tell you something. If they put ProMotion and an Apple M5 chip into an iPad mini, I don't care what the price is. I don't. I'm buying it. It's not like I need the performance. My current iPad works just fine. But the only reason I don't have an iPad Pro is because I personally think it's too big. I'm not trying to have an iPad that I'm going to use like a computer, if that makes sense. I want an iPad that's going to iPad, and there's only one true iPad left. And as a result, I have I have the upgraded storage version of the iPad Mini, right? And for that price, you can just go buy you an iPad Air, right? So it's not like I didn't have the choice of buying an iPad Air and an iPad Mini. I just really wanted an iPad Mini.
One thing I think that's going to be nice about this whole experience is if they did something like that, like you said, the screen size and portability is really nice, but they could introduce mini LED as well as perhaps, Kwesi, you know I'm going to say this, the fixing of jelly scrolling.
Oh my goodness. I feel like we've talked about this every episode. Jelly scrolling is not that big of a deal. And I'll say it again. I've never personally, okay, so that's a lie. I have personally seen jelly scrolling. But it's when I was testing for it, and I took my phone, put it on slow motion, and I just kept jiggling my home screen back, or not my home screen. I was in an article, and I just kept jiggling it back and forth on my iPad. And, that's the only time you'll see it. So jelly scrolling, again, is not that big of a deal. I don't think it should prevent anybody from buying the iPad Mini. The iPad Mini is still probably the best device that Apple sells. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I will die on that hill. I think the iPad Mini is the best product that Apple sells to this day.
Really?
Yeah.
Over the MacBook?
Definitely.
Wow.
There's a reason I bought my iPad Mini before I bought my MacBook.
Which is?
I wanted an iPad Mini.
Okay. I got to say, my first iPad was a Mini, and I loved it. I got the Pro 12.9 inch, and I do like it a lot. And for me, it's watching content, right? That's why I love it a lot. I do use it for computer-like stuff as well, like the podcast right now. And one thing I would say is if they did bring it to the iPad mini size, I'd probably be down too. I think the whole rest of humankind would be as well because it's just that nice of a device. Now, here's a question with that. Do you think they would have any lacking features because of the screen size, or they still throw that M series chip like the M? What's in the current iPad? Is it M3?
I think it's the M4.
M4?
Yeah.
Are they going to throw the M5 in that if they do that, if they come out with that next year?
Like
or is it
an
gonna be reduced?
iPad Mini or? Oh, okay. So absolutely not. We're not going to see an M chip in an iPad Mini for a while because, as the only true iPad, it has to follow in those true iPad footsteps for a little bit longer. You know what I mean? It has to keep using them iPhone chips. And I think that's really limiting. This is completely off topic, right? But I'm going to switch here for just 1 second. Did you know that if you go on Amazon today, right, you could buy AirPods Pro for $170? The second gen, not the first.
Second gen?
Yeah, I'm trying to put you on game here, Adam.
Is it a current sale or just that's the price?
Hold on, let me check. Because I know it's a sale because it's 32% off. But when does this expire is the question.
Well, they never really tell you that.
Yeah, I definitely can't tell you.
It's just not there one day. Now they're Prime days. They tell you the countdown, but that's about it. Well,
yeah, that was off topic, but go ahead.
That brings us to the next topic of iPadOS 19. Did you see that they're going to have Stage Manager 2.0, which is an enhanced multitasking mode that activates automatically when the keyboard is attached for managing apps and Windows smoother and more productive than ever? So that's a bunch of words for marketing from Apple. But if that's what the Mac kind of has to offer now, is it Stage Manager 2.0 or is it not really?
So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't use Stage Manager. I could definitely turn it on at any moment. It's just not something I want to use. So Stage Manager does not matter to me, is what I'm trying to say. However, the new menu bar that's supposed to be coming, the Mac OS-esque menu bar, it's not that different from what we already have on as a dock on.
What's at the top though, right?
Oh, the menu bar.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Mac. Okay, so the Mac OS menu bar, the one at the top, right? That's a great feature. I definitely do like my menu bar, especially with how it changes for every app and how it allows me. Well, I feel like most Windows apps have a menu bar, but it's not always in the same place. It's not consistent, and I love the consistency here.
And that brings it closer to a Mac OS experience, right? We're not quite there yet, which is good, I think, right now in this time of year. But I want to see if that's going to be a game changer for iPadOS.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Just something I want to bring up
because until Mac OS can run Mac things, like obviously it can run Final Cut Pro, and obviously it can run stuff like Logic Pro and that. But like there are some things that
you mean iPad, right? You said Mac OS.
I was saying iPads can run things that Macs can run, like Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro. But there's some stuff that Macs or that iPads can't do that Macs can. And I'm blanking right now. They're not coming off the top of my head.
Well, it's only because of software.
Yeah.
Hardware is 100% there.
I promise.
Just so I mean, it's a MacBook Air most, right? That's basically what it is.
It's dang near the same price.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much a MacBook Air specs wise. I would say better than a MacBook Air specs wise because the screen, first off, is a touch screen, which, I personally wouldn't use on a computer. But, some people like that. My roommate, he swears by it. I personally don't, but, to each their own.
Tell me why. When someone brings a Mac to get fixed or show us something at a help desk, right? I have seen more fingerprints on a Mac laptop than any other device with touchscreen. And I keep telling them, this is not a touchscreen, right? Why is that the case?
I think because, I gotta be honest. People, they have iPhones now. And when you go from your iPhone to your Mac, the messages button is the same. Why don't I'm not going to tap my screen because I don't want fingerprints everywhere. But it would make sense for it to be touchscreen. So and I don't know why Apple doesn't give us that option.
So you want to see touchscreen on Mac?
It does not matter at all to me personally, but I do know that some people would love to see a touchscreen on Mac. Like my aunt, I think she was the first MacBook that I ever touched, and she wanted a touchscreen even back then. So I think it's been a long time coming, but if they had a touchscreen to Mac, nobody's going to buy an iPad, and if they had Mac OS to iPad, nobody's going to buy a Mac. So we're kind of we're stuck in this situation.
Okay, I see. Moving to a completely different topic that I want to bring up to your attention, and I just heard about this last night, by the way. So there is a solid state battery type that kind of destroys lithium ion, if you didn't know about this. And it's supposed to increase the cycle count for power banks and for batteries in general. I would say in today's society, battery consumption is a big priority for a lot of people, and having portable power is huge. As you know, Kwesi, I might have at least 4 power banks, if not more. But one thing that people really want, and it's even become to the point where for your whole house, right? They want to have power that's, if the power goes down for the power grid, they have alternative ways to charge their devices. And having something like this is one step closer to a more sustainable power bank, because power banks now have one huge problem: cycle count. You buy a power bank on Amazon for $25, you're going to get a 500 cycle count, and that's about it. The problem with that is you have to buy a new one probably within 2 or 3 years. So there's a brand called, now I'm going to butcher this probably really badly.
I'm going to let you do that.
Kuxus? It's Kuxiu. Let's just go with that. They have made their very first MagSafe QI2 Qi2 power bank with 5,000 milliamps. That is 1,000 cycle count. So it's going to have with a solid state battery in it. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy this because for me, 5,000 milliamps is pretty much useless, right? In general. But for the most part, this is going to be an industry starter that's going to bring this whole entire way of charging, I think, to Earth. And I just want to see how that works. It's supposed to be way less of a heat transfer, so it's going to be way cooler charging as well. And
temperature cool. I just want to make sure the audience knows.
Yes.
It's not a really cool experience.
Okay.
It's just temperature cool.
That's true. So, as I was saying with cycle count, Anchor will tell you that most of them degrade after 300, 500 cycles. This is 1,000. That's huge. I'm not sure what your thoughts are with this, Kwesi, but I want to get. I want to see what your thoughts are with Qi 2 charging and just this new battery type.
Okay, so let me hit the new battery type first. So for the last couple of years, we've been trending towards this new I forget what it's called, but this new battery technology. I can't remember what it's called.
Solid state?
I don't think that's what it's called, but
Lithium ion?
No, lithium ion's been here forever.
Oh, so I'm not sure you're saying it all then.
Yeah, but like there's this new like battery technology that's allowing batteries to become thinner and charge faster. But, I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more dangerous. However, that's not the point. The point is, we've been on a trend of getting bigger batteries in phones. Or not just bigger batteries, but like more capable batteries in phones. And so for the price point, I don't think that this is something I would invest in. It is $80.
It's expensive.
For 5,000 milliamps. So while I understand the cycle count is more than double that of other power banks, I'd have to say I don't see myself buying this right now. However, when it comes to Qi 2, the only reason I would buy something Qi 2 instead of MagSafe is because I have an Android. And I don't have an Android right now. And I definitely don't have an Android that supports Qi 2 wireless charging because I don't know what it is, but the Android manufacturers are not on top of it right now. I haven't seen too many phones with Qi 2 wireless charging. And I don't know if it's because Apple helped make Qi 2. I don't know if they made some sort of stipulation that you got to pay Apple a certain amount of money. I don't know what's going on here, but I feel like the industry should have moved because we have Qi wireless charging, just the regular one, right? And every phone has that.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why we can't mobilize as an industry and start moving towards Qi 2 because all it is some extra aligned magnets to make it charge faster. It's better for the user. I'm sorry, I'm getting upset. But yeah, Qi 2 is great. Qi 2 is MagSafe compatible, so if I really wanted something Qi 2, it'd be because I have my iPhone and I just didn't want to get the MagSafe stuff. And I also think it allows you to charge at the 15 watts that MagSafe currently charges at. So,
there's one more thing this has to offer that I'm actually kind of excited to see. We know currently that if a forklift or a fork or a samurai sword stabs a battery that's lithium ion, kind of turns into a big cloud of fire. Supposedly, the solid state battery that if it gets punctured or exposed to high heat, it doesn't do that.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing.
That's a big thing.
Apparently, that was in their video showing it off. Their promotional video. So,
I gotta say this: Samsung could have used that a couple years back, huh?
Oh no, definitely. But if you remember earlier this year, I was replacing my phone battery.
Oh yes.
And I gotta be honest, Adam,
turned into a pillow. So it did.
Yeah, no. The audience doesn't know this, but my phone just one day randomly decided to blow up. Sorry, not like it exploded, but like the battery just started blowing up like a balloon, right? And so, I work in IT. My warranty expired like what? 5 days before that happened.
That's so sad.
I'm not going to go to Apple, right? I didn't buy AppleCare for some reason. I was broke. Well, I wasn't broke. I was rolling in a lot more money than I am right now as a high schooler. But, I didn't think it was necessary to shell out the extra money. Because I was like, I'm going to take extra care of my phone. I'm going to make sure nothing happens to it. Sometimes life hits you fast. Let me just put it like that.
The opposite of a Snickers. Okay?
I promise. But we had to, well, it wasn't a we thing. I kind of, brought my phone in and I was like, you know what? Today is the day. We're either blowing up the IT department or we're going to fix my phone. And it was really scary because the phone got stuck and the lithium ion battery was producing fumes. And I was so sure that it was going to blow up and I was going to lose a finger or something, maybe be disfigured in my face. And, we were hoping for the best. Thank God it didn't blow up. Fun fact: the battery's actually still in the IT department. It's like sitting in the trash room. Yeah. I might take a photo of it and make it the. Why am I blinking? I might make it the thumbnail for this video. But yeah. What was I about to say? I do like that it's not going to blow up on me. I like having that security.
That's pretty nice. Moving to a completely unrelated topic that I want to see what your thoughts are. Do you know about the brand Adidas a little bit?
So I'm at a Nike school. Let me preface it by saying that. But I love Adidas personally. I've had quite a few Adidas shoes. My favorite shoes being the Adidas DON issue 1. I don't know if you know the basketball player Donovan Mitchell, but they're his shoes. And honestly, they're probably my favorite basketball shoes to play in, aside from, a pair of LeBrons. But that's beyond the point. Yes, I do know the brand.
So they are launching this week what they call Climate Cool. They are 3D printed shoes.
3D printed.
So May 2nd, they are coming out, which is going to probably be after this podcast is released. But anyway, I've seen a lot of different companies do stuff like this. You probably have seen the 3D printed basketball.
Yeah, I actually wanted to bring that up, actually.
Okay.
So Wilson is selling that for an extremely outrageous price.
Yeah, how much was it again?
I think it's $1,500. It might be $3,000. Hold on, let me check.
But Kwesi, it looks pretty awesome.
$2,500.
Oh.
$2,000, Adam.
Oh my god!
I promise you, it's not worth that much. Let me calm down. I've been.
But you never have to fill up with air ever again.
I don't care. I don't. You know how many basketballs I could buy for two? I'm gonna get upset. Do you know how many basketballs I could buy for $2,500?
Probably at least 2,000.
Dude, you go to Five Below, you can get a basketball for $5, dude.
Yeah. What's a Wilson standard ball cost though? Like $50 or something like that? I don't know what they cost.
I think my Wilson Evolution was $100. Let me check.
What's like a standard game ball cost?
Yeah, so my Wilson Evolution, which is one of the better balls they sell, was $89. So, $100 isn't bad for a ball, right? A really good ball. Typically, I would spend $50, or I would say $5 to $50, which is a large range. Don't get me wrong, but you can get a lot of good balls at that range.
Does this come with a lifetime warranty?
Dude, if this ball doesn't change my life,
it might though.
Adam, no, it's not. Because for that price, so here's the only reason I'd ever buy that ball. One, it's for a Make-A-Wish kid. Two, it's gonna save that Make-A-Wish kid's life, right? So I'm just not paying for this, Adam. It's not gonna happen.
Okay, but would you do something like this for a shoe?
So I know the price of the shoe isn't $2,500. Unless you're gonna surprise me and I might walk out the room.
It's $140.
Okay. Oh, so they're reasonable. Oh.
Yes. Well, from the looks of this picture, which, we'll probably put this in the show notes maybe. We'll see if we can. It looks like it's definitely not waterproof. Like, it's for sure going to be like, breathable to the highest extent.
Oh, cool. So if it rains, I'm cooked.
I don't know, though. This is just like a concept, I think. I'm not quite sure yet, though. And maybe it's just how the design looks. But in any case, I first want to say, do you think the industry is going to just kind of move towards this, where we see multiple brands making 3D printed shoes? I guess here's the follow-up with that, too. Shoes degrade. For me, if a shoe lasts a year, I am lucky. I walk faster than most people. I don't walk against like a cheese grater or anything like that. It just happens. I shoes I have on now started falling apart. I bought them like 7 months ago already. I don't know if it's just the material or whatever the case is, but if we have a shoe that is one solid piece of material, right? It's not just 18 different things put together. It might last longer. Vibrams is the only shoe that I've had that's lasted over a year. That's it. So this might change the overall lifespan of a shoe. potentially, but it's gonna be soft, Kwesi. If he's using, I can't remember what they said it's gonna use because they're probably keeping that very secretive. But it's supposed to be super, super soft, kind of like a croc, but not like a croc all the way. One thing that's huge. Some people have feet that have like the arch is different, right? Or they have a wider span for their foot. So this shoe can offer a customized fit for your specific feet. If people have different type of feet variations right there, which is kind of cool to me. Does that make it more viable to purchase if it's offering that kind of customization?
I think the bigger thing here shouldn't be customization, but durability. If I'm buying a shoe, I personally don't run through shoes, one shoe a year, right? My shoes typically last me a long time, and I think it's because I try to purchase high quality shoes. Like, the reason I buy from brands like Adidas and Nike are because I know I'm gonna, like, I don't like shelling out extra money, but I know that it's gonna last me a long time, which is the reason I choose them over some not name brands. But if it is customizable and, like, especially for people with no arch and people with a lot of arch in their foot, I can see the selling point. You know, that's a great thing to have, is what I'm trying to say.
And the price point is not treacherous, right? We're not talking about the Wilson basketball, right?
Yeah, if it's only $140, okay. That's
the
something
same
I will
price.
shell out. That is the same price of a normal shoe, which is exactly what the Wilson... If the basketball was $200, sorry, I know I keep going back to this basketball, but it just makes my blood boil. If it was $300, $300 is pushing it, right? But I would buy it for $300. $2,500 is absolutely, positively unacceptable. Like, if I ever see a Wilson executive, somebody's gonna have to hold me back, because that's just.
Now okay. Isn't that price point because that is a limited edition basketball and they're doing a test trial out right now?
Okay, so cool. So I've seen hundreds of videos of people just printing their own using a special filament and then selling. You know, you can buy a non-Wilson one online right now for $120.
Oh, where? Yeah, we gotta find some links here,
dude. Like Facebook Marketplace, literally any dude. Just the other day, I was watching one, and this guy bought it, and he was breaking down the cost of how much it costed the person to make it, and it costed them $55 in that special filament because it's like a flexible filament.
Yeah,
and if it's only costing you $55 to make, Adam, why are we selling it for $2,500?
It's weird to think that companies desire money, but you know why?
I get the desiring of money. You need to turn a profit, but that's
there are people that will buy it.
Not this person. They will not see a cent.
So if you had $42 billion in the bank, you're not buying that.
No. I'm gonna go to Five Below and give me a regular basketball because it'll satisfy my needs just as well.
Okay. And I'm not saying I want to either, but I do want a 3D printed basketball. I want to see how that is compared to any other basketball. I don't know. I'm just curious. You can bounce on a nail and not have to worry. You know, that's kind of cool.
Okay, but like I've never bounced a basketball.
Just saying, let's say that someone shot for the hoop and they missed it and it fell on a nail, no more worries. And will this technology transfer to a wheel for a vehicle? Which we've seen concepts where there's no, all that stuff, but I think it's going to be kind of a push in the industry for more than one type.
I think that would scare me more than anything because, as we know, tires have a lot of technology in them, right? Mm-hmm. And, even today, tires are mostly just rubber, right? And here's the thing. I don't think an airless tire is worth the hassle because here's the thing, right? I was at a tire recycling plant the other day. Don't ask me why. I just kind of ended up there. But here's what happened, right? He was taking it apart and he was explaining how the tires work, right? And, tires have specific treads for different things. And then they also are lined with steel. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. I had no clue, right? So it kind of helps with the durability. But if you're 3D printing a tire, first off, where's the traction coming from? Sure, you can try putting grooves, but that filament it's not strong enough yet. Also, second, just no. You know what I mean? Absolutely not. I will not be in a car with 3D printed tires. That looks janky. You know what I mean?
We'll
like,
see.
Sure, it's futuristic and it seems cool. It's a cool idea.
For me, it's you drive somewhere and you run into a nail, or something happens where you're going through a junkyard, bringing in some old refrigerator, whatever, right? And there's no more worry of your tire just leaking air for just no reason at all.
Have you been in that situation before?
Several times.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever been.
I've run over a nail that should never be anywhere near a road. But I swear, nail manufacturers test all their nails on the road. I don't know, but there's too many on the road. So I'm just saying that would eliminate that problem. Have you ever been near? This has happened before, people too. Let's say that you're at a truck stop, right? Going to the gas station to get some pop, whatever, right? And there's some times where the tire from a semi-trailer just blows up. Have you ever been near that?
No, but that'd be the scariest thing ever for me.
It sounds like 4 or 5 shotguns going off at the same time. And if you're near that, you're going to die almost, right? I'm talking about
heart attack?
No, like, it hits you. It's like a grenade.
Does it?
Oh, yeah. It's like that tire comes off the tire and smacks into whatever. And there's that problem. Also, have you seen this happen? This happened, I saw this on Facebook the other day, where guys go down the highway with he had a trailer with some stuff on it. The tire came off. It started rolling all by itself, went into a gas station lot, and ran over someone pumping their gas.
Okay, so now you're giving me an irrational fear of trucks. You know what I mean?
I am just saying that if it's more about safety and more about if I'm driving now, if I run over a tire or something very sharp.
You're running over a tire?
Well, tires or whatever, right? Or a nail. But I'm just saying that there's a safety factor that I'm looking forward to for that type of tire more than anything.
Right.
So that's more what I'm excited about, because the tire hasn't really innovated in like 8,000 years, I feel like. It's the same rubberized, steel-bound tire with some air in it. You know? Who's innovating in that? Oh, we had different rims. Great.
Dude, but
that's all I'm saying, though. There's
let me tell you
no other
something.
changes.
I seen a like inverted rim where like it didn't have. I don't know how to describe it to the user, to the listeners, but you know how rims usually have like a circle in the middle and then it's like a star coming out. Mm-hmm. Dude, this rim didn't have anything in it. Like, it was so clean. Oh my goodness, it was such a cool looking rim. Like, when I buy my own car, I'm customizing it with those rims. Like, those were absolutely amazing.
If you can find it, we'll put in the show notes, okay?
I will.
In the description.
All right. Next up, you know, the European Union is so funny sometimes. You know, they forced Apple to go to USB-C. And now this could be the U.S. Congress. I'm pretty sure this is the U.S. Congress. But, you know, I just wanted to...
DOJ.
Yeah, the Department of Justice. Sorry. Yep. Did you know that, you know, when governments get together, it usually spells out doom for tech companies. And, you know, Google has had this one service that dang near everybody uses. If I come to your house and I get on your computer and you're using something aside from this service, I'm probably leaving your house. You know what I mean? Like, if your default browser isn't Google Chrome.
Oh, it's not.
I don't think. No. Listen, if you're using like Opera or Brave or something else, but if you're using Edge, Firefox.
Edge is also Chromium. Did you know that?
I did not.
Firefox is the only browser, as we speak, that is not Chromium.
Interesting. Here's the thing, right? If I'm coming and I'm seeing that, and you don't like Chrome, if you tell me straight to my face, I hate Google Chrome, I don't know if we can be friends. Adam, don't do it to me.
Okay.
Don't do this to me.
Well, okay. Chrome is not a bad browser, but hear me out. It is so well known to use an enormous amount of RAM. You can't deny that.
Oh, absolutely not.
So, with that being the case, and there's all these background processes that we don't know why there's A2, the same Chrome running and stuff like that, there's a little bit of conspiracy behind that. But beyond all that, one thing that is happening is the DOJ is currently in a case, U.S. versus Google, as they like to call it, as essentially trying to break up Google from owning Chrome.
because of a monopoly, right? They think it's a monopoly.
Kind of is though, right? Over 89% of people that have a computer or a mobile device use Chrome.
And then on top of that, Google pays for itself to be the default browser and things. So like Safari, yes, you can change who you're using on Safari on your iPhone, but the default is Google.
I heard they paid Apple billions for that. Is that true?
It is true, but here's the thing. Apple and Google kind of need each other.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So Apple pays Google billions all the time, and Google pays Apple billions all the time. So really, this money's staying in their own companies.
That really tells you that they have other plans for Chrome that's making that money back. Let's just put it that way. Any case, we all know that Google makes their money from basically selling information, right? And that's part of their terms and conditions.
Another way they do it, too. I'm sorry for cutting you off here, but this has been kind of ticking me off recently. This is just an episode of me getting upset. But have you seen that now, if you Google anything, you're going to get 3 sponsored results? Let me calm down. You're going to get 3 sponsored results before you see an actual result.
And oftentimes, it's not even relevant to what you searched.
I hate that. And on top of that, Adam, sometimes they'll put Google AI answers up. So now my entire front, I have to scroll down to actually see. Okay, I'm making that sound like it's a lot of work.
If you did,
it's annoying.
If you did it on iPad Mini, it's so jelly.
Oh Lord.
Sorry.
I can't keep doing this with Google. Why are we adding things to push my search results down?
I gotta say, the Google AI though, when you do a search, it's pretty good sometimes.
No, it can be helpful.
It's almost like searching in AI is better than searching in any other search engine. I mean, when's the last time that you went to Yahoo Search?
Dude, I don't think I've ever used Yahoo Search. I know my dad used to use it, but
I used it more. I used to ask G's more. I use Yahoo Search. Let me tell you that. That's really old school. That's getting back to like before color.
Yeah, I didn't even know what that was.
Oh,
but
man.
What else did I use? Like, obviously, you have to use Microsoft Edge to download Chrome, but that's about all I use it for.
No, get on a flash drive. Just do that ahead of time, and you don't have to worry about that. And tell you why, with Edge, you open up, there's like 42 processes to get to using the browser. I hate it.
And then here's my issue with Edge. You open it, and instantly, I'm talking instantly, ads, newspapers, everything, right? And then I type in Google Chrome, and it just begs me to stay with Edge. What are we doing? This is desperate. It's making me not want to stay. You know what I mean? It's like,
we're still a browser too. Barely.
It's like, let's say somebody had an ex-girlfriend, right? And they broke up with them, and you're like sitting there on their porch begging for them to take you back. No! It actually looks less attractive when you're begging me to stay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's definitely relationship advice 101, by the way. You guys can thank me for that later. But I'm taking too much time on this topic because we do only have a certain amount of time, and I'm trying to get the episode over with. I can't stay on Google Chrome too long. But potential buyers would be OpenAI, Perplexity, and Yahoo.
Because they know what they offer sucks. Anyway, so let's kind of dig down deep. So both the options for OpenAI and Perplexity is they're all AI companies. Why would they want to purchase a browser? What's their gain from that?
That's a great question. I would assume that purchasing the most used browser in the world could have some sort of benefit in terms of finding more, because you know how AI models work. They kind of, you feed them information. So like every time someone talks to ChatGPT, chat, don't say it like this, say it like that. It sounds more normal, right? Or make it sound human, right? That's the most common prompt I've heard of. Make it sound human, right? ChatGPT is constantly refining itself by being fed all that information. And if you have access to Google, which gives you access to a bunch of people's information,
lots,
dude, it just makes the AI better. Now, it'll definitely speed up the process of them becoming our AI overlords, but aside from that, I can't see any downsides.
It's got to be just data, right?
Yeah.
Because I think we're seeing a shift where people will actually search in AI more than like Google for the most part, right? That's why you see in Google now, you see their Gemini, which is really the only spot that I see that work well, by the way. But in any case, that's probably what that is. But Yahoo, like, they're hanging on by half a thread at most.
Dude, they should have bought Google when Google offered it way back when.
It was like for such a cheap price too. But right now, I mean, I remember Yahoo mail getting hacked every other year.
Oh, could not be me. I never use Yahoo.
That's what my first email was, and I'm so sad I did that. It was terrible. It still is awful. In any case, I'm just more interested that, of these three who would buy it, the estimation is $50 billion. With a
billion.
Billion. That's a whole lot of zeros, Kwesi.
I can't even count that high.
For a browser. That's just because the user data is there, the user base is there already, and it's strange. Quick little question. Do you use Chrome on your phone more than you use like Safari or Brave or whatever else?
I have the Google app, but not the Chrome app.
Google app?
Here's the reason. I only have it so that it gives me the notifications of the news that I want to read.
Oh, okay.
And I use Safari more often just because it's more convenient. It came and it's in my I could definitely change it in a moment's notice. Don't get me wrong, because the way it works is it comes and it's pre-installed on your home screen in the dock, and it's really easy to switch out what you have in your dock. I just didn't do it, so there's that.
And here's the thing: if Google did sell Chrome, I don't think it would be a huge problem for them at all because they have Google.com, which is where they make all their money.
They do have Google.com.
So it's just an interesting thing that they're trying to demonopolize Google, which is kind of a cool thing, I guess, because they're in everything now. It's crazy. So I just want to see your thoughts. But here's something that we don't ever usually talk about, but I want to bring up is, have you heard of a brand called Slate Auto?
Actually, no, I haven't.
It's kind of funny that their tagline, but they're supposed to be this anti-Tesla EV company that's making, for right now, it looks like a truck that's supposed to be without all the tech gadgets that you can think of with screens and different ways to charge and everything else. But what they offer, it's kind of interesting, is the base truck can get upgraded to like an SUV or a mid-size like sedan almost kind of design, which is interesting to me that they're doing that. And their miles that they kind of go to is from 150 miles up to 240 miles for a single charge. What are your thoughts, Kwesi?
So I think I should preface this by saying I've never been a car guy. Never been really big on cars. However, what was it, last week? Last week I was going to a convention for my church up in Schaumburg, right? And the person who picked me up drove a Tesla Model S, right? I think this was my first time ever being in a Model S, and I think I'm going to buy a Model S. So first off, it's not like I'm picking a side here whether I love or I hate Tesla, but objectively speaking, the technology inside of Tesla is absolutely amazing.
Incredible.
He was driving, and I could see it has this little screen, and it shows you. Oh, okay, it's not little at all. I definitely lied. It's bigger than my iPad screen. Well,
it would be bigger than.
Yeah, it's a pretty big screen, and it has the dashboard and everything. It's all on there, right? And you can, but here's the feature that really gets me. The car has some sort of sensor that can tell exactly what you're driving by. You were driving by a car, right? And you see a little sedan driving by the car on the screen. And then up ahead, it sees this truck. So it sees a truck bed, so it's assuming it's a truck. And you see the truck start formulating. And then directly in front of us, there's a semi-truck. And that just starts formulating. And it's the coolest thing ever, I'll be honest with you. It's super cool.
It is.
So, if you're taking the tech out of the vehicle, I don't know.
Well, base, that's what they're going to do. Now, this is a $20,000 vehicle.
$20,000.
Okay, what's Tesla cost though?
I don't know.
40 to 50.
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot more.
I've never bought a car.
lot more. So it's going to be a entry point cheaper option, right? You can customize.
Is that like really
it.
cheap for a car?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay.
That's super cheap. There's others out there that price point, not a truck, not an EV truck. What's Tesla truck cost? You know what that cost?
The Cybertruck?
$80,000 base.
I thought it was $100,000.
I mean more. I think base is 80,000. It goes up for if you adjust it for like the mileage and whatnot. But in any case, a $20,000 EV vehicle that you can customize is nice. Now there is options to put tech into as well, so you're not just going to go without tech. Just so you know.
Okay.
But I'm actually interested to see if this takes off. I see all over the place being advertised. They're probably spending $4 billion on budget for marketing right now because it's everywhere. And I just want to see overall what they're going to do with this and how this is going to perform and how you can transform into other different types of vehicles. That's kind of a cool concept. And I'm just curious to see what the market says, right? It's going to be a Tesla in market share in 3 to 4 years. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know because, sometimes when a company already has a head start, it's kind of hard to, try and beat them. If that makes sense. It's definitely possible, don't get me wrong. But I think it's unlikely that it's going to beat Tesla anytime soon.
The only thing that it beats them right now is price point for entry-level EV vehicle. And I'm not sure if that's all it does with right now. It's just, I think, the price point. But we'll see. We have to see the feature set. We have to see in the road. We have to see how it drives. Does it handle well in the cold and in snow weather and stuff like that? Can you take this thing out in the desert and have some fun? I don't know. We gotta find that stuff out when it comes out. I think it's currently expected to come out in 2026.
2026.
And pre-orders are available right now. So just to bring that up. Okay, so one thing I want to reiterate is we have a Discord channel and we have a specific Discord. So we have a Discord server, and one channel in that server is a Ask OMT. And if you have any questions about what we're talking about on the podcast, any comments, or if you have any type of raw feedback, let's put it there. One thing we're going to do is as we get some questions, then we're going to review those and answer them on the podcast next week if we get any. So if you have any questions, just join the Discord server and let us know what you think. And overall, if you have any feedback for us in general, we're still very new at this. Well, not Kwesi's done this for a lot longer than I have.
I haven't podcasted for a lot longer.
You have way more audio experience.
Yeah.
I have zero experience with this, so I'm trying to do better in general anyway. So just let us know what you think. We're going to see you next week at this point, and hopefully many, many more episodes from there.
Yep, and I just want to add, if you guys like the podcast, obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious, but if you could like and subscribe, also follow on, like, if you're listening to Apple Podcasts or if you're listening on Spotify, if you could follow the podcast, that would help us out a lot so that, Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube will start pushing our content to other people so that we can keep, making these podcasts for you all. And if there's anything that maybe you want us to cover, or maybe you think we didn't cover enough, or, maybe we're just not good in explaining it, any suggestions, anything, just let us know. We are active in the Discord, and if we do see that someone left a comment, maybe we won't get back to you on the podcast specifically, but we will get back to you.
Yes. We have a goal of 500 follows before end of May. That's the goal we have right now.
We know it's kind of ambitious, but we think we can do it with you guys' help. So,
yes.
Once again, thank you all for listening. It's been a pleasure serving as your host tonight. Or I don't know what time of day you're listening to this at. We're definitely recording this at 6:50 in the morning, though. So,
yep.
I don't know what I said tonight. Anyway, have a great week. Have a great weekend because this is coming out on Friday. And we'll see you guys next week.
Peace out.